thinking back. Drop the class, too established, that the magic, it's automatic. Got a mask, who was at her? Living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, never tried, tell him on. If I am in second, it's after no one. Just give me a second to let them know. I'm the headline, the deadline. Big time. I'm ahead time, the red kind. Big time. I'm a living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind. Big time.
The French Riviera, playground of the rich and famous. Now the T100 arrives in town with its very own star cast, ready to soak in the glitz, the glamour, and the breathtaking scenery of the south of France. Well, a very good morning. Welcome to the beautiful French Riviera. Well, if it's your first time joining us on the T100 this year, this is a quick reminder of how it all works. We've got 40 contracted athletes racing 9 races across the world. Each athlete must race a minimum of 5 races, including the grand final in Qatar at the end of the year. There's a cool $7 million on the line. It's 35 points for a win, all the way down to 1 point for whoever finishes 20th, with more points on offer for the final.
On your mark.
Marion, we have a great start here in the French Riviera.
And we are underway here at the San Rafael Vayat Plage for the T100 French Riviera. What a stunning location we have to bring you here today as the athletes take to the gentle waves, I would say. Some small little white caps in there. But it is a really, really stunning morning. The sunrise has been absolutely incredible here as the athletes take to this challenging, unique and iconic course that we've got for you today in the French Riviera. As always, we start with the 2-kilometre swim. We've got 2 laps of 1 kilometre each. Short Aussie exit to run back in and start again before we get onto the really meaty section of the bike. So right up from the start there, that green cap that you can see, that is Rico Bogan. No surprise to see him right up there. And next to him in the purple cap, that is Kyle Smith. Right behind in the orange, I think it's orange, I'm just just checking. Yeah, that is in fact the orange cap of Yelagines. I wanted to make sure, purely because Yelagines had a fantastic swim in London, and he really did put down, I think it was a top 4 swim he had out of the water, and that was his best ever race, so we really wanted to make sure that he's having another good swim before I incorrectly allocated to him. But it does look like Yelagines is right where he'd want to be in the early part of this race too. Some of the other colour caps to look out for, we've got the red cap there of Leo Berger. He was our lead-out swimmer in London, so we might expect to see him move a little bit further towards the front. And another cap to look for is the teal cap, and that is Morgan Pearson. He was our lead-out swimmer back in Vancouver a few months ago. There's massive advantages to being sort of on someone's hip. It's the fastest place that you can swim. But of course, the problem with that is that if you do that for too long, you are going to slow down the person next to you. So the best thing to almost be able to do is use it as a slingshot, to be able to swim on someone's hip for a short period of time, slingshot your way through, end up in front of them, and then continue on your way that way. What we've seen at the front of this race so far was we had, I think, Rico, and we had Leo and Kyle Smith, and they were all swimming next to each other, and that's probably not doing them any favors at the moment. That's probably slowing them down a little bit.
So as the men are making their way around the top part of this De Boer swim course, it's time to head back to the beach.
On your mark.
Here we go, the heartbeat music is on at the start line.
So away the women go here on the French Riviera. A short run down the beach, straight into the water. And I guess, Vicky, uniquely perhaps in this case, because the women's race starting so shortly after the men's race, do you think they might have been just trying to catch an eye on what was happening in the men's race to try and see the tactics, see if anything happened in the water?
Well, I'm not sure they've had quite enough time. They probably were watching a screen just as they were getting ready, but it's only been 7 minutes. So it has been a really, really tight turnaround. And they were probably just in their final phases of preparation themselves. So they might not have been able to properly analyse it. What they will have done, though, is at yesterday's swim familiarisation, gone over it a good few times. You know, the run-in, the sighting to the first turn buoy, how many steps they need to take before they dive, all those sorts of things. They will have covered those yesterday in a lot of detail. I think that's already Jess Learmont taking the lead. We've not got a close-up on them yet, but there is one athlete who has broken away in the very, very early stages of the swim. And knowing the calibre of Jess Learmont in the water, I would be amazed if it is anyone but her. And I know, having had a little quick chat with her yesterday, she's only got one aim for today, and that is to be out of sight, out of mind for as long as she possibly can be. And that seems to be what she's done right from the gun.
You can see there the marshal just trying to direct them away from the rocks on the left-hand side of your screen as they look to make their way onto the Aussie exit of this Debur swim course. And we'll start to get our first timing splits from this men's race as they make their way onto the beach. And you can see, I wonder what they'll learn from this first lap of the course as they make their way onto the beach and they'll dive back in the water. But obviously, don't forget, you can run a lot quicker than you can swim. And there might be a case of some of those athletes thinking that they went a little bit far towards those rocks and could have been slightly more efficient. So timings then, confirmation that Morgan Pearson led in the Aussie exit. Sam Dickinson just behind Carl Smith, Will Hirsch, Jelle Geens, Justin Nishlak, Rico Bogan, Hayden Wild in 8th, and Matthias Margerier in 9th, and Antonio Benito Lopez rounding out the top 10. Yeah, it's quite the lead that Jessica Learmont has got here on the Debur swim course here in the women's race, and Georgia Taylor-Brown just trying to stay with her as much as possible. This will be quite a critical moment, you would think, in Georgia Taylor-Brown's swim as to how quickly she can get out here and stay with Jessica Learmont. But regardless, for both of these athletes, it is a sizable gap they're now getting over the rest of the pack.
And interestingly, neither of them look back. There we go. Jess just had a look across there. Georgia hasn't looked back. There we go. So Georgia should now go, okay, I'm on my own here. This is the feet I've got to get to. I have got to get back onto Jess's feet because there's no one coming behind me. There's a big old expanse of clear water behind me.
So 5 seconds the gap at the when Georgia Taylor-Brown left the water behind Jess Learmont. We've got a huge group of other athletes now, so we'll start to understand just how far back the rest of these athletes are. Plenty of support out here on the Debur swim course, which is fantastic to see. The French crowd really getting behind this T100 triathlon here in the French Riviera, full of fantastic support. And here we go, let's take a look at the timing. So Hannah Berry, 36 seconds back from the lead. Then it's Marta Sanchez, Sifer of Switzerland, India Lee, Ellie Salthouse, Ash Gentle, Elemo of France, and Lucy Byram in 10th. Anyway, back to the men's race, and Morgan Pearson still out in front.
We know what calibre of athlete Hayden is. We know what he's done in terms of his extraordinary comeback into the sport this year. But it's worth saying that in London he was about a minute down coming out of the water, and that's not going to be the case today. He is still in that pack, so he's going to come out in touch with the leaders, which just makes it such a hard day for everyone else when Hayden is there from the go. You know, you haven't had any chance to put time in on him.
And to think that, you know, the impact of his injuries probably most affected his swimming. And the fact that, you know, second race in, like you said, he is there with the leaders, and that really does, you know, I would dare say, scare the competition when they get into transition to see that Hayden is there with them, because like you mentioned, Vicky, you know, he was behind in London, but he really does just show testament to the fact that he, you know, he knows how to claw his way back to recovery in the most professional way possible. And I think we're going to be see some very surprised faces in the next few seconds.
Brilliant swim as well from Kyle Smith to come out the water there in third spot. So as these athletes exit the water, they're going to make their way on this blue carpet just round the front of the promenade here. And then they're going to make their way. We called this the helter-skelter yesterday when the athletes were giving their race briefing. They make their way onto there and then down to the first transition zone.
Yeah, so at this point with such a big group, the real advantage of sort of running hard through transition is just as they get onto the bike, because they obviously have to spread themselves out 20 meters each. Being one of the first onto your bike just means you don't have to worry about that congestion. Think of the distance from front to back of that pack. It's huge. So really important for someone like a Morgan Pearson and a Sam Dickinson to maintain the lead they've built in the swim and get out early onto that bike course.
And as we've been saying, this 80 kilometre bike loop is very, very unique for us on the T100. And this potentially is kind of the last time the athletes are going to see each other. It could be for 80 kilometres if they stay in this sort of formation. This is when they get to understand where they are in the race. They're going to need to pay attention right now to who's around them, because there are no timing splits out on the bike course.
Big time!
But this is now with the lead of the men's race. Sam Dickinson of Great Britain with us on the T100 here on the French Riviera, and certainly making himself known and making his presence felt by being out here in the lead. So Sam Long here just making his way to his first transition spot. Actually, I believe his best swim on the T100 so far. So
yeah, I know he's been working with a new swim coach. He has an American athlete called Greg so he's got an American swim coach who has been really working on his swim. His name's Greg Harper, and they've made some inroads.
And while the men start the bike course, the women are just finishing up their time on the Debourg swim course. Emma, tactically for Jess, her best chance for a win here in France is to get out on the swim as she's done. Okay, big tick there. The bike, we know she's a very strong biker, tick. Will she have a gap in mind, do you think, on the bike when she gets to the running part of this race?
You know, I don't think so. I think what Jess is going about doing is knowing that she has to race her own race, and we know her strengths. We've mentioned it time and time again. But as Vicky said, you know, running is not being able to something that she's able to consistently put together. So I think she realised that she's got to capitalise from here on. But I think, you know, she often gets, you know, when you don't have as many strong swimmers around you, you often do feel far more empowered and know that you can somehow take control. And you know, that kind of buoys you, I think, in the sense that it boosts your confidence, knowing that you're capable of going out there on your own and doing this race solo. And, you know, time and time again, they're doing that in training, no doubt. But to have that in a race situation, you know, just provides that extra little bit. And I think Jess, yeah, she's an incredible pool swimmer. I know when she's trained in Australia and Noosa with the swim coach up there, he's, you know, and he's by tough by Australian swim standards, and he was just continually always talking about the strength and pedigree of what a swimmer she is. So that's in the pool. So to translate that into open water is incredible.
Yeah, what she does really well open water as well is just maintain such a high cadence. She maintains sort of a really good, strong stroke, pulling a lot of water, catching a lot of water, as we would say, underwater, but with a high cadence as well. And she's been notorious for doing it in short course, and now the same in the T100. She keeps the pace on. There is no slowing down on lap 2 from lap 1. She, if anything, goes harder on lap 2 than she has done on lap 1.
So the rest of that pack are now making their way out of the water, onto that blue carpet and into the first transition zone. Georgia Taylor-Brown just taking that swim skin off, and we'll get on the bike as soon as possible.
We've got a little split on Georgia. She was about 25 seconds down on Jess Learmonth coming out the water, and then Indy Lee at the front of that next group was about another minute down again. So minute 25, that's Indy Lee, the first athlete in the red hat there. Ellie Salthouse right behind her, Hannah Berry behind her as well. That's Marta Sanchez coming through, Lucy Byram, another athlete that's going to be fascinating to watch today with her bike strength. I think she's really excited for this course. So all the main players are around about a minute and a half down on Jess Learmonth coming out the water.
Ash Gentle was also in that mix, so I think that's
yes.
an important place for her to be, knowing, like you said, the strength of the girls around her. But I think this course is really, really suited, particularly the bike course, to Ash. So I'm really curious to see if she really tries to work through that pack that she's in and establish a bit of dominance at the front of them as soon as she can.
We just saw Alana Siffert going out. She was at the front of that chase pack as well. She's one of our, again, very last minute wild card. She's only known for a few days that she's got to start here and decided to take the chance and come here and race. And a young athlete, only about 23 years old, I think, and has only been racing over middle distance for about a year. So again, a very young athlete just taking the opportunity that comes her way.
All right, let's talk about Leo Berger. This is his neck of the woods, as it were. This is where he's used to practicing, used to basing himself as a triathlete, and goodness me, I don't blame him. What a stunning place to be.
He must know every little bump in the road, every little turn, every little stone that should or shouldn't be there. And I mean, what an incredible location to live and train. And probably he's never had the unique ability to ride it the way he can now and take any line he wants. Whoa, oh dear.
Oof, that was a bit hot coming in there, wasn't it? That was a moment. I had to hold my breath there. I thought he might be going over the edge, but he's saved it, and he's back with both feet in his pedals. I think he just came in too hot. I think he just came in too hot.
Thinking that whether or not, having a closed course, which he's never had before, just taking in more speed than he's ever been able to take. I mean, that's very unusual.
I think he just overcooked that corner, got the angle a bit wrong, bailed out early.
He did super well to stay on there, didn't he?
Onto the inside of the course. It was a very strange one as well, because he seemed to still have enough time to control it, but whatever happened, he is back riding hard. Just wonder if he's maybe not quite as confident as maybe we might have assumed. But anyway, here we are, back with Jess Learmonth still leading in the women's race, but it looks like Georgia Taylor-Brown has closed down the vast majority of that gap that Jess had out of the water. Latest time split shows she's just 8 seconds behind now. And that little group behind of Lucy Byram, Indy Lee and Caroline Pohl, and of course Hannah Berry still and Alana Siffert right on the back of that as well. They've even brought down the gap a little bit as well. So right now, Jess is on her own at the front, but she's not making inroads on anyone else. She's not taking out more time.
Right now, we're just getting eyes on Carl Smith and one of the bike mechanics who has been called. I don't quite know how he's going to do this on the move, but we'll wait to see what sort of problem Carl has, and then I'm sure they'll work out the best. Yeah,
whether or not it's a
off
wheel.
the bike. And this will be really quite frustrating for Carl Smith. It looks like a saddle. I think you called that, Emma. Very good. It looks like his saddle has just dropped down. Really, really frustrating for Carl Smith, this, because he had an excellent swim. He was right up there at the front at the start of the bike. And as we saw with Georgia last week, these moments when you're, I mean, right now in the commentary box, this looks like it's taking minutes as opposed to seconds, which it realistically is, but it must feel horrendous as a triathlete out on the course.
Oh, look, I mean, first and foremost, the fact that it's there and we have so much support out on course, this is very unique, and given the one-lap circuit that they're able to get to them in this fashion, Kyle probably weighs it up in his head and says, well, it actually is worth me stopping, losing the time, but in order for me to get through the rest of the race and still have a really solid performance, he has to take that decision.
And we've got eyes here on Ashley Gentle. And this is such a good opportunity, isn't it, for Ash to put down a result this year that should really be on the podium, you'd say, if she was sort of in the form that she was in last season. My goodness me, she'd be all over this race.
I do believe it is a sort of course for Ash. I mean, when she sort of made the switch from the shorter distance racing to long course racing, like a lot of athletes, they tend to feel that they've got to pick up on areas that they and work on areas that they need to in terms of adapting to this distance. And again, she also has spent much more time in the mountains than what she would have been accustomed to in living in Australia and in Brisbane, practicing, her ability to descend too, also on a time trial bike, a different story to normal.
So my attention right now is just being drawn to the larger screen on the right-hand side and watching Rico and Hayden here descend and doing it so well. I mean, it's scary stuff when you're watching it from here in the commentary box, or at least that's what I think. I don't know what you guys are thinking when you're watching this.
It looks fun.
Yeah, fun and a bit scary.
They're making it look easy. So this is always the thing with any kind of skill, any sports person doing a skill and doing it well, it doesn't look difficult. It's actually when the people who aren't doing it as well start to do it, then that doesn't look quite as good. But they are doing it really well. We're now right behind Sam Dickinson, so he is the third of those three riders currently riding in third, fourth and fifth. Mathis Majurier, Jelle Geens, and himself, of course, Sam Dickinson. So these guys still riding somewhere between that 35 to 40 seconds behind. Again, going around these really fast, sweeping descents. But all of these top five guys are technically very, very good on a bike. It's no surprise to see them taking these corners in the way they are and maintaining that speed. And yeah, they'll be enjoying this part of the course, I'm sure.
And you can see there, Hayden Wild, 9 seconds ahead of Rico Bogan.
And that probably means he started the climb behind him, rode past him, and then was just a couple of seconds in front again by the time he got to the top. So, here we go. For the very first time since the first steps on the beach in San Rafael, we've seen a change in lead. It's been Jess Learmonth absolutely all day long, and now Georgia Taylor-Brown has just gone round her. So for the first time, we are an official duo at the front of the women's race.
Big time!
So we've sort of missed this move happening, but Alana Siffert has made her way to the front of the race. She's overtaken Jess Learmonth, and in front of her now is only Georgia Taylor-Brown. So Alana Siffert is an athlete we've never seen race on the T100 before. She's a young athlete, only 23 years old. She got a wild card within the last week. She actually raced Embrunman just over 2 weeks ago, which for those who know is an intensely difficult full distance race in the French Alps. It's about a 10.5-hour race. It takes a good while longer than a normal full distance race does.
Wow.
Right now, she's within touching distance of Georgia Taylor-Brown, and she's made her way to the very front of this race. That's a big gap that those top five have got, and any one of those top five guys now will be fancying themselves for a podium.
We need to get ourselves on that wheel. Fantastic view out to the second transition zone and to where the athletes were doing the swim earlier on today, but not far to go at all. You can see that is the transition zone, and that's Hayden Wild just out in front. So one final turn to make before he ends up on the blue carpet and at this transition zone. Interestingly, choosing to dismount really early there, Hayden.
That was an unusual, unusual.
Did he misjudge that, or do you think
I
he
think
did that deliberately?
Yeah, interesting. It's not like Hayden to make mistakes, if I'm honest, but it did appear that he did dismount like right on the blue carpet there. Whether or not he realised the dismount line was a little bit further onto the straight. Let's see. It didn't appear like it cost him anything per se in terms of the distance they came in, or when they were getting off their bike to where they are now in transition. But yeah, in this type of racing, socks, so that can always prove a little difficult even at the best of times too. But he doesn't look super rushed. He looks very calm and very much in control, and if anything, it really didn't change it. So knowing him, he probably just had that always up his plan.
Yeah,
his game plan.
You're right. Hayden will have had that down, I'm sure. Mathis Majeria, he had just broken off the front of that other little group of three, so he is now the third person in transition. And just as we said that, we saw Yelagines running past in the background, and this is Sam Dickinson, who again, a wild card athlete, really showing why he's worth a wild card, and really gonna take so much confidence and heart from the athletes that he is going out of transition with. He is running out of transition with Yelagines, previous T100 winner. He's running out with Mathis Majeria. He knows he's within a minute of the very front of the race. Like, these guys are the creme de la creme. So a great performance so far from Sam Dickinson.
Yeah, it really is. And you can see Hayden Wild all by himself making this journey to base nature, which is where the athletes will be doing their loops around.
Vicky and I are just sharing a glance like Hayden looks... Yeah.
There he goes. It's sort of just like Hayden doing Hayden things again. But it is worth mentioning where they are going right now. They're running into quite a strong headwind. So he looks very, very good, but he's also got a lot of wind to deal with there. And so, yeah, just another little note to mention, because it just emphasizes how good a runner he is.
Yeah, and you can see there they'll get their first look at each other. It's pretty much the distance of this arm out to sea, and actually a bit further. Hayden really turning it on here and pushing out in front to get this lead. All of those athletes behind will now get a sense of just how far ahead Hayden Wild currently is. And Yelagines, I mean, at one point it was sort of 40 seconds, wasn't it, the gap to Hayden at the front. By the time they got into that transition zone, it was more 49. And that sort of 10 seconds it could be really critical, couldn't it, come the end of the day. So Yelagines making that pass on Rico Bogan, really put an injection of power down there, and now has got out in front of the German athlete.
Jelle has to bear in mind that, well, definitely knows what kind of athlete Hayden is and how strong and how robust he is. He's got to just keep putting that pressure on and hopes that if there is a tiny crack, a tiny chink in the armour, he can capitalise on it. It's actually very, very tight at the front of this women's race. We've got the first 7 athletes all within 1 minute and 47 seconds. So it's a very close course. Just a little chuckle there at the dinosaur on the side of the road. They won't have seen very much, as we just touched upon, because of the nature of the course. They won't be seeing many spectators and fans, and then they'll just come around that corner to a dinosaur. So, you know, lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, if you're struggling, if you've had a tough bike leg, that's sort of the thing you might want to see, or maybe you don't want to see it, I don't know.
You might think you're delirious, who knows?
Yeah. Am I seeing dinosaurs here in the French Riviera?
Yeah, so this is Jess Learmonth we've got now, currently in 3rd place. Obviously our leader for a huge amount of the race before Georgia Taylor-Brown did take the lead. And then Alana Siffer, she really used that sort of 10-kilometre climb section to absolutely pound her way to the front of this race. And she's now, as we can see here, back down on the flat and just racing with total fearlessness. And I absolutely just love to see it.
It's just coming up to 10 o'clock local time here in France. And right now, Sam Dickinson has made light work there of Rico Bogan.
Pushed past hard there. Did you notice that? There was a definite acceleration, wasn't there? He sort of bid his time a little bit coming up to him and then pushed past quite hard and trying to establish that gap straight away and not let Rico get to the point where he can sit on him, because there is a big advantage to that when we've got these really windy conditions, but also just an advantage of having someone to pace off and to run with in the race and maybe take the pressure off a little bit if you've been struggling and sliding backwards through the field as Rico has been. So Sam doing exactly the right thing there and trying to establish a gap, but Rico so far holding pretty tough. It's only about a meter or so, so these two looking like they might be locked for a little while.
The bike leg is coming to a close in the women's race with Alana Siffer just out in front, making her way around those roundabouts, which are quite technical parts of this course, especially on tired legs, I'm sure.
I think what's so notable about this athlete is she's so young and inexperienced, but she's making it look like she's been on the circuit forever. Like, she really is kind of a consummate professional, like the where and when she's taking from her nutrition, you know, obviously handling a bike incredibly well. I think that sort of goes part and part of being Swiss. I think that naturally is an inbuilt gene. And you know, she's so young and somewhat so inexperienced, and there's sometimes such beauty in that, in being able to show up to races with no expectation,
Bit of naivety,
knowing.
perhaps.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant, and you know, to come into leading a race on the French Riviera in a T100, I mean, like, what better way can you ask to cement your career that I'm here and I'm ready to race the best in the world?
And she's going to head into T2 with roughly a minute and a half lead. I mean, what better way to do it? I'm just looking online. She found out 3 days ago that she had a wildcard opportunity here and decided, I'm going to take it. I'm there. And look what she's doing right now.
That's
we just
insane.
love to see this kind of attitude, don't we? Like, and from a wild card to be leading the race, it's everything we hope for with this T100 circuit.
Wow, that really is quite incredible.
Don't think it's going to be the last wild card we see for Alana Siffer, do you?
Definitely not.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be back on the T100. She's making quite an impression so far, but...
And she will be knowing as she's putting on her shoes and going out now, there's no one else in sight. There's no one else here. I can't see anyone coming down the road towards me. Any second now as she exits transition, she'll probably start getting a little bit of feedback from people on the side of the road telling her the type of tightened gap that she's got. I think she's going to be pretty pleased.
I think she's going to be overjoyed. Yeah, wow.
We know that her run is strong, but not her absolute strength. The cycling was definitely her number one of the three disciplines. But she's put together some really good runs across the last year or two as well. I mean, she raced against Ashley Gentle in another epic mountain race in Alpe d'Huez last year. And she held her off after taking some time out of her on the bike. She completely held her off on the run, and it wasn't a particularly big gap. So whilst Ashley Gentle is still very much in this race, she's only 3 minutes down as she's going to come into transition, which I think she's going to be pretty pleased with. I think that's going to boost her confidence of where she might end up at the end of today. This is not a foregone conclusion. You know, Alana Siffer with a 3 minute lead back to the best runner in the field, I think
it's deceptive. It's like when you're taking part in so many of these really tough races that do include really hard bikes, naturally your run's not going to come and play to its strength and maybe show its speed immediately. But you know, for someone like her, this is probably a relatively easier bike course than the one she's been competing on. So you know, this might be her opportunity to show to herself and to everyone else that she actually is a really strong runner off a really, you know, solid bike. So here we'll get a time check on Georgia. And I think we're going to see an incredible run from her personally. I think she's going to know that have the confidence that she's, you know, had a much, much better bike than she did a few weeks ago. And, you know, really on a run, there's not all that much can go wrong. We haven't had any updates that she's lost nutrition or any mishaps in that regard. So I think, you know, for her now, it's a matter of just, you know, keeping it together and you know, capitalizing on everything that she's been able to put forward so far.
Notice no socks there for Jess, whereas Georgia took a moment to actually sit down in transition. And even more interestingly, I think that was Hannah Berry came in right while Jess was actually still doing her shoes. So Hannah Berry's taken some time back. She's put herself right back up there with these second, third girls, Georgia Taylor-Brown and Jess Learmonth.
Yeah, just looking down in the bottom left, that's Sam Dickinson just pulling away there slightly from Rico Bogan. It looks like sort of a 5-7 metre lead, something like that, that he's managed to put in front.
Yeah, he's just started to finally get that gap on Rico that he's struggled to.
I was gonna, what? Do you see them just touch?
Just a little sort of low five. Yeah. A little bit. Nice to ride with you. Catch you later.
Yeah.
Georgia will know she's got to go to work now. Georgia, the caliber of runner that she is as well. I think she will know that she's just passing actually. She can see Alana Siffert coming the other way. So this first little dog leg they do out and back around this marina, this harbour wall, she will have that been her first opportunity to get eyes on Alana Siffert as she now really takes on the rest of this run. But now we're back with Ashley Gentle, who again probably hasn't yet had a time check but will do soon. I think she's going to be really encouraged. I think she's going to know that what she's done there so far on the swim bike has really put her in contention for a podium again today.
Big time! This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no else, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Running the game now. Foot on the gas, can slow down. No. Yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Watch the game change, yeah.
So Hayden Wild firmly in control as things stand in the men's race. Let's take a look at where things are in the women's race. And Georgia Taylor-Brown is eating into that lead of Alana Siffert.
Yeah, that gap is on my tracker about 1:18. We're getting a little bit of jumping around on the pylon on the left there, so sometimes that just takes a little bit of a time to update. But yeah, we're now just around a minute or so. Yeah, she's bringing down that gap fast to Alana Siffert, and Alana Siffert looks good. She doesn't look like she's crumbled. She doesn't look like she's really struggling. And Georgia just looks so relaxed, but that's how she always looks. Whether she's running a 18 kilometers in a 100k race, or whether she's running a 16 flat 5k at the end of a short course sprint distance, she's got a very relaxed, deceptive style about her. So I think if we were just looking at her in isolation, you think, oh, she looks pretty cruisy here, like maybe she's not actually going that fast. And then we look at that time and how fast it's coming down, and look again down that list. Ashley Gentle now only 2:15 from the front as well. So those are the two fastest runners on course at the moment. Paula Finlay running really strongly as well. Oh, this is shaping up for a real podium battle. I can't pick who's going to even win, let alone get on the podium. Well, it was such an open start list really before they started today. I think there will have been a good handful of them thinking, I might be able to win today, and even more thinking, I might be able to podium today. And now they're out on the run and they're all so tightly packed. We have not seen a women's race like this ever in a T100, where the top 10 athletes are all within 3 minutes in the first few kilometers on the run. This is really close racing. Someone like Paula Finlay, who's just moved herself there into 3rd place, is again going to be taking confidence with every step that she goes, fancying her chances as well. And that's what makes the racing really exciting. As the athletes get more confident, their race brain kicks in, they really sniff the possibility of a win. That's when we see the fireworks go.
Georgia Taylor-Brown only 35 seconds behind at the last count.
We can see Hayden having a little chat with Georgia Taylor-Brown as they are mid-race. I mean, how much energy do you have to stop and just have a little chat and a smile and a laugh? I mean, gosh.
I love
that's
that.
Brilliant.
George was like, can I just hang on for a tad, a minute, a second?
Can you be my windbreak for a minute, please, Hayden?
Oh, that was gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah, really good to see that. We've got the men's and women's races. They happened within a few minutes of each other here in the south of France. We're not used to doing that on the T100, but absolutely fantastic to see. See that moment again as Hayden just comes past Georgia.
See, I nearly said when we were looking at the back of the shot to try and spot Georgia, I nearly said, I think that looks like Hayden, and I thought, well, they're only running the same pace as Georgia, so it can't be. But there we go. Oh, make yourself big, she said. Make yourself big for the wind block. That's exactly what she was asking for.
But to talk about staying in your lane, it looks like Ash Gentle is really coming to reeling in that time. I mean,
that's her up into 4th spot there, just overtaking Hannah Berry. She's got Paula Finley now.
Firmly in her sights.
Exactly, just ahead.
Almost exactly 1 minute behind Georgia Taylor-Brown. So that gap has sort of stabilised between Georgia and Ash. So at some point, it seems almost inevitable we're going to see those two head into 1st and 2nd position. But Ash will need to find just a little bit more to try and get to Georgia Taylor-Brown. But at this point, we are still, 12.5 kilometres from the finish line. There is a lot of running left to go in this women's race.
We can see Georgia Taylor-Brown in the background of this shot with Hayden Wild.
She's doing a lot of looking around. I think she knows that they're coming. She doesn't know how close they are, but having a lot of checkbacks. There we go. And there's Ashley Gentle just rounding that corner as well. So that gap is coming down fast. And Paula Finlay there, we can just see her in the back of shot as well. She's only about 12 to 15 seconds behind Ashley Gentle. So right now, those two athletes are running faster than Georgia Taylor-Brown.
So Hayden Wild makes his way onto the blue carpet. This has been a masterclass from Hayden Wild. In London, he returned, but he's now going to make it 3 wins from 3 on the T100. He's looked calm, he's looked cool, he's looked collected all day, and since the bike, this has been going nowhere else. Hayden Wild is our French Riviera champion. And he barely looks like he's broken a sweat.
Is that poker face ahead of tomorrow, or is that how he feels? I mean, only time will tell, but so impressive.
I think he's genuinely just timed that exactly how he wanted, and he is just purely content that he nailed it.
Well, very good. Yella Geens crosses the line in 2nd place.
Here he comes. Debut performance from Sam Dickinson on a wild card, and he's hitting the podium.
Yeah, Olympic medalist rounding the final corner. He's made his T100 debut here in France. And Sam Dickinson, I'm sure we're going to see plenty more from him on the T100 over the next few months and years. Sam Dickinson comes home in 3rd.
Sam lives and breathes this sport. He is intensely invested in this sport, and he will be absolutely delighted. And as we come back to the women now, we are about to see the pass. Ashley Gentle, who has not won on the T100 Tour since London of 2024, is about to hit the front, and the confidence that this will give her, I just don't think we can underestimate it.
Yeah, makes the pass past Georgia Taylor-Brown, and she is now in the lead of this race. Ash Gentle leads a T100 race.
And there you go, Paula Finlay just going past Georgia Taylor-Brown as we speak now. And I don't know if Georgia has anything left back in that tank of hers, but now is the moment she's got to really use Paula Finlay to try and reignite a little bit of something on this run for her. She looks a little bit fatigued now, and obviously these two girls are so well versed at this distance. They're so much more experienced at the middle distance racing than Georgia is. But if Georgia's got anything left in that racing brain of hers, she's going to hold on to Paula for dear life for the next kilometre or two, I think. When your body is starting to, one thing after another, sort of shut down on you, it's really hard to keep the brain in it and to keep pushing forward. And right now we can see her losing time on Paula, and any second now Indy Lee is going to overtake her. So we're going to have yet another change in these podium positions. And again, Paula Finlay not too far in front.
Yeah, so Georgia just taking a look over her shoulder there, seeing India Lee fly past her. Fantastic to see Paula Finlay, and there she is. Probably the last time she'll see Ash Gentle. until they see each other at the
I was
finish
just going
line.
to say,
I wondered.
I thought exactly. I was waiting. I was like, let's see if there's the hand tap. Ash had already fixed her hair, checked the eyebrows,
put the
she checked
sunglasses
the glasses
up.
I was like, yep, she feels confident enough for a hand tap. I love it.
Well, these two athletes, of course, they race each other a lot on this circuit, but they've been racing each other since they were teenagers. They've been racing across the world in World Junior races and then in World Series races. So they've known each other for, you know, over 15 years now, these girls. So
I even used to race Paula.
Exactly, and me too.
Yeah, but I go for much further back, and it's brilliant to see, and the same with Ash. You know, to see the caliber and length and career of these athletes that they're having, I think is truly special.
So Ash Gentle then rounds one of the final corners that she's got to make here. The finish line firmly in sight. By her standards, this year has been tricky. It's not been quite up to what she is used to. She sets the highest of standards here on the T100. But as Vicky Holland said, form is temporary, class is permanent. Ash Gentle, you are back to winning ways on the T100. And she will be absolutely overjoyed at that win. Didn't quite fancy
giving
fireman's carry.
Josh a warning there. No, don't pick me up, please.
So not far behind her, and as we just mentioned, her best result on the T100. Paula Findlay is gonna round that final corner, make her way down. She's battled hard on this race here on the French Riviera. She's going to come home in second place, and it's going to feel very, very good. Paula Findlay comes home in second.
Now we're just watching Indy Lee come in around that final corner, and again another athlete who's going to be ecstatic to see that finish line, I'm sure, but even more so to know that they've finished on the podium. There we go, what a smile, Indy Lee, a little fist pump, her third podium on the T100, the smiles, the emotion as she crosses the line.
So confirmation then of the women's results here. Ash Gentle coming home in first place, the fastest run of anyone, no surprise there. What a monumental run that was. Paula Findlay coming home in second, and India Lee rounding out that final podium spot. Then we got Lucy Byram, who came home in fourth, Ellie Salthouse in fifth, Hannah Berry sixth, Caroline Pole on her T100 debut in seventh, Laura Madsen in eighth, Georgia Taylor-Brown came home in ninth, and Alanis Sifer in 10th. And let's see where that leaves us in the Race to Qatar standings. Julie Duron not with us this weekend, but she still sits at the top on 96 points. Kate Woff and Taylor Knibb on 90 points apiece. And Ash Gentle propels herself in with 89 points into fourth place. Lucy Charles-Barkley in fifth on 84. Lucy Byram in sixth. Jessica Learmonth on 68 points in seventh. Paula Findlay in eighth. And Hannah Berry and Taylor Spivey round out the top 10 of the Race to Qatar standings. Okay, well, that's where it leaves us in the Race to Qatar. I'm delighted to say we're joined by our winner, Ash Gentle. Ash, congratulations. We absolutely loved watching that in the commentary box. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I came out in a really big group in the swim, and then I knew that I just had to kind of try and stick with them as long as I could. But to be honest, the first part of the ride was so fast, and I knew that there was challenging sections ahead, so I just tried to not panic and just try and make sure I paced it really well, and I actually think I did that pretty good. I still had some legs at the end of the ride, and that was a bit of a plan for me because in London, the wheels fell off the last part, and I really paid for it big time, so I'm really glad that I could pace it a little bit better today.
All right, time to have a look at what happened in the men's race. It feels an awful long time ago now, doesn't it? But Hayden Wild, our winner, with Yellow Geens just behind him. Sam Dickinson rounding out the podium in third spot. Mathis Margirier, the local home hope, in fourth. Rico Bogan in fifth with the fastest bike leg of anyone. And Morgan Pearson, look at that, with the fastest swim and fastest run. Gregory Barnaby in seventh. Wilhelm Hirsch in eighth. Antonio Benito Lopez and Mena Koolhaus rounds out the top 10. And then just a quick look at the race to Qatar standings and how it all finishes there, with 119 points for Yellow Geens, a very good day for him. Hayden Wild in second on 105. Rico Bogan in third on 93. Mick and Newt also tied on 93. And Martin Van Riel rounding out the top 5. Okay, those are the standings, and someone who's had a brilliant day is Hayden Wild. Hayden, congratulations on that. We saw you cross the line. It looked like you barely broke a sweat. Is that true?
You know, like today was like always going to be a super calculated day, and you know, I took some risks out there. I think I was the only one on the start line that didn't wear a swim skin, and paid off super well, you know, coming about 10th out of the water more or less, but in the group. And yeah, didn't have to take the swim skin off straight out of transition in fourth, which was perfect. And yeah, from there the boys really took control. I didn't really want to see the front of the race until I got to the climb, and that was where I was going to make my move, and yeah, put my head down and yeah, just pushed hard for 15 minutes and got to the top of the climb. And I looked at Rico was there, and yeah, we just looked at each other, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And we had about a 50-second gap by the top, and from there I wanted to get on the downhill as well. I practiced it a lot, and also made another calculated decision in the morning where I actually switched my front wheel out for my road wheel, because it was super windy out there, and I could see some of the boys with the deeper dish wheel up the front were struggling around the corners. You saw that Leo nearly took a bit of a crash. With the smaller dish, it was a lot easier to ride, and then on the run was just keep it controlled.
Fantastic. All right, well, it's not long until we're back. We're in Valencia on the 20th of September, but from all of us here in the beautiful French Riviera, it's goodbye for now.